Hey, ladies and gents, Chris here, Ghost of GBT on Reddit. Back for another weekly charting analysis video. I'm going to do some charting, some technical analysis based on Reddit upvotes. So here we go. I arranged these from top to bottom here, so I'm just going to go through the top 10, and then if we have extra time, if I still feel like continuing, then we'll move on. So number one, AMD long. Everyone still seems to be obsessed with AMD. And I did some digging on AMD, looking into their offering and all that stuff that they're doing. The chart still looks pretty good for a long. The only thing that I would want to see is just some indication that it's going to kind of bottom out here. Just because we had kind of a crazy day in the market on Fridays, on Friday. We lost 2 or 2.5% on the S&P 500. So that was a significant down day for the S&P 500, and AMD, as you can see, was definitely affected by that, as indicated here by the extra volume. So if the market continues to stay weak, if we get a big gap down on Monday, or we kind of drift down next week, then AMD is going to continue to go down. But I do like the chart for a long. It's still kind of sitting on the support here. The news flow is relatively good. They are doing this offering, but it's going to be restructuring their debt. So they're going to be raising about $1.3 billion if all of the if all the offerings go through. Their net proceeds will be about $1.3 billion, and they're going to use that to pay down some of their longer term debt. Some of it which is due in 2019, some of it's due 2020, and then I think 22 and 24. And they're restructuring all of that to a lower interest rate that's all going to be due at the end of 2026. And then they'll have, I think, about $300 million left over for other general corporate purposes or something like that. So go back and read through the news. Just make sure you understand the offering. I do like the chart for a long still. I just want to see, some indication that it's going to hold this area, because the offering, I don't think the offering, was priced in or anything. I just think, we need to see some indication that this is not just going to continue tanking. So I like it overall. I would just be cautious and wait for some indication of strength. Number two, AA. Is this American Airlines? Or is that AAL? Oh, this is Alcoa. Coming into the 200-day trend line support on the daily, bouncing, coming around here. Looks like this just got smacked because of the market. This is a big, S&P 500 stock, so the market goes down, S&P 500 goes down, NASDAQ goes down, Russell goes down, Dow Jones goes down. All these big name companies are going to go with it. So yeah, it's sitting on the 200-day moving average. I don't know if I would personally buy it unless the market shows some sign of rebound. But yeah, it's sitting on the 200-day. I just never really buy on these big. Anytime a stock flushes, on the first day, I never tend to buy until after I see some kind of bottoming action like we saw over here. So I want to see it sort of oscillate around the 200-day moving average and make sure that it's actually going to hold it before I buy. Let's see here. CHK short. So this is an interesting one actually, because CHK, if I remember, CHK is the one that had a bunch of insiders buying it recently in like the 6s and the 550s. Chesapeake Energy director purchased 50,000 shares at 559. And then 350,000 at 607 was a different director. So late August, the insiders were buying this up. And in my opinion, this thing held up really well given the market turmoil and the fact that oil was down on Friday. Pretty much everything in the market got smoked. And I actually was long on Friday on this thing in like the low 770s. And it tried to break out. I ended up stopping out for a small loss when it broke underneath, the morning range here. But I thought that I really thought it held up surprisingly well compared to every other oil company out there and every other, basically everything in the market. I mean, everything in the market got smacked except for CHK. There were certain companies that had their little doji candles, but I mean, to me, this is a sign of strength because it did not crack. So I don't know if I would short this personally. And it's not really that extended either. It's only gone from, 5 to 750. So it's not like the thing's gone from $3 to $10 like some of these small cap companies. So you have the insiders buying it up. You've got obviously a ton of strength here on Thursday, and then on Friday I thought that it showed relative strength as well, just because of the fact that it didn't break down with the rest of the market. It had a couple of washouts here. One of the other things I noticed was there was a million share bid at 774 on level 2, and that was pretty persistent. So I think I'm not really sure, whether that was a legitimate thing or if they were just trying to prop it up so they could unload a bunch before this, dumped. But I thought overall, it just showed a lot of strength. So I don't know if I would short this one. I would definitely be more long biased personally. Alibaba, why is this with 5 points? Why is it down here? Well, anyway, Alibaba long. So a couple people mentioned this one last week, and I had said it looked a bit too extended, so we wanted to probably wait for a pullback, which is kind of what we're getting now. So yeah, I like this. I think this is another one that's just kind of, it got hit just because of the market. They had a nice earnings gap. It held its earnings gains. It kind of ground up here 6 or 7 days in a row, went parabolic, and now it's sort of pulling back, and it's taking a little bit of heat just because of the market. But if it can hold that earnings day area, we'll say, I mean, you could really say like 98, just to give it a little bit of room to kind of take out those highs, bounce around a little bit, and then potentially reclaim it. So yeah, I like this around the 98 area, maybe a little bit lower. But just like all of these dips, for me, I want to see some sort of a reversal candle or an indecision candle like a doji or something like that, just so that we have some indication that it's going to bounce and not just completely give everything back. So overall, I like the chart. It looks really good. Strong earnings or whatever. So I think overall, yeah, it's definitely a long. Fit short. Fitbit. What is Fitbit doing? So Fitbit, it doesn't really have any pattern on it. It's just been going sideways for like the whole year. So where would you short it? I guess that's my question. And I'm looking at this, maybe under like 14 something, but it just seems like it's kind of going back and forth in this real tight range between like 14 and 16 for quite a while. I don't see any major reason. If anything, I would potentially long it based on this support here at 14 and just play the range. But at the same time, it just doesn't really look like it's going to move. If there's some fundamental reason you're thinking Fitbit short, then possibly, but I'm not a fundamental trader, so I can't really say. What else? Dow Chemical. Again, another purely technical play. The thing failed badly on Friday after printing new highs for the year. Oh yeah, I remember this one. I did look at this chart, actually. So is this idea for a short? Yeah. So I mean, it had a reversal candle there. It looks like it kind of failed the breakout. So yeah, I mean, as long as you keep a stop loss over that 54.59 high, I think it's probably fine. It looks somewhat different on my chart. Not because the data is different, just because my chart looks different. But yeah, I mean, it seems like it's kind of just stuck at this 54 area. So I don't know, it is making higher lows, so this could potentially just be another higher low from, here we had the crack under the 200-day, and then it tried to break down and come back and retest the 200-day, and then it came back up. So could just be making another higher low, and it could, potentially, if it holds over 53, it could break out. But with the market weakness, we might see a little bit of a different response from it. So let's see what the market does. But I think if the market continues to stay weak, if the S&P 500 stays weak next week, then this is probably pretty likely to fade back at least into the 52 area, possibly into the mid 51s or low 51s. Starbucks long. A little overdone on the downside, coming into trendline support. I know you usually like to see some kind of reversal action, too much momentum on the downside, or some opportunity here around support. Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, I'd want to see some reversal indication. I mean, you can never just buy something just because it's down. I mean, it closed on lows, which is an indication of a lot of weakness. It's been trending down. If you look at the intraday chart, it's been on a smooth trend downwards for the last 2 days. And, so you have to have some indication of a bounce. You can't just randomly buy, especially if it's closing on lows. I mean, sometimes the indication of the bounce will come intraday, and you'll end up with, a reversal like a hammer candle or something instead of something that closed on lows. But I mean, if it closed on lows, then it was weak all the way into the close. People were selling it all the way into the close. So for me, that just means, it's still weak. So I need to see how it reacts in the morning. In the morning, if it, does some kind of a washout down to 53.50 or 54 or something like that, and then just immediately reverses, sort of like CHK did. Started to grind up in pre-market. It did its little oscillating thing back and forth underneath the previous day's highs, and then it just got smacked. That's an indication that today is not the day for this thing to go, in this case, in either direction, right? But if you see something like on Starbucks, if you see it do something like that, but then it holds and goes back up towards the other, in the other direction, or even just goes sideways, from that point, to indicate that there's some level of support here in the mid to low 54s, then you're in good shape. But for right now, I don't really see, it's got the trend line, but that's about it. So yeah, I'd see how it acts on Monday. Let's see here. WRK long, V short. Some of these things are like out of order for some reason. I'm not really sure why. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whatever, we'll just keep going. So WRK long, West Rock, 1 year post-merger of Rock-Tenant and Midwest FACO. Interested to see your thoughts on a paper package company in the S&P 500. WRK. I don't know. I don't really see any pattern on it. I mean, it's kind of sitting on support, I guess. These are like grandpa stocks. They don't really do anything. For short-term gains, you're going to trade a $50 stock. You want it to be something that's going to move $5 or $10 a share, not something that's going to move 20 cents, because you got to use a ton of buying power to trade these if you want to make just trading a small gain worth it. So yeah, it's sitting on support. It's a good technical area to buy it. I just don't trade stuff like this just because it's not just WRK. Like, I also probably wouldn't trade Dow. I probably would not trade Starbucks. I might trade Starbucks. I probably would not trade AA. This stuff it's so thick. It's, very high volume, and it's very high float. They don't move as much. If you look at something like Fitbit, even though this is in a tight range right now, it has the potential, when it really gets moving. This thing moved over here, $9 a share in 1 day. Over here was $6 or $7 a share in 1 day. So when these types of stocks get running, these low float ones, and Alibaba, right? It's a $100 stock, but it could run $5, $6, $7 a share in 1 day. So these ones are definitely better for trading purposes. This one, it's a nice technical pattern. It'll probably work, but you're just gonna have to be more patient with it. And you know, it takes too long for me to make any money on those. V, same type of thing. I was actually interested in this one. I saw your chart on it. It's interesting that you call this a fake out breakout, because to me, this actually looks like a breakout retest. So rather than a short, I would actually be thinking this is a good point to long it, because it's sort of retesting its breakout level. So this is like, a lot of times you'll see these companies, they break out and then you immediately get a retest of the breakout level, and they kind of break a little bit down through it just to shake out all the weak hands. And then, you know, all of the secondary buyers come in and buy it at, you know, 81 and 80 and a half or something like that. And then you get the real move to the upside. So I see this a lot actually with these sort of things that they sort of pretend to break out and then they look like they failed and then they'll come back. Great example of this intraday actually was UVXY. We look at a 1 minute chart. Now, of course, this is a 1 minute chart, but the same thing is true on the daily charts. If we look at when it broke $20, everyone was watching it to break 20 bucks. And so, you know, it's testing. Right, so it's testing 20, it's testing 20, it's testing 20. It keeps making higher lows. The pattern looks great. It coils up. Higher lows, higher lows. It's super low risk, right? So you buy it at $19.95. It breaks through 20 bucks. You go, it's got tons of volume. It's moving. Everything looks peachy. And then, bam, it gets slammed. And everyone who was buying it for the $20 breakout, or anyone who chased it above 20, you know, $20.05 or $20.09 or whatever, they get shaken out in this. And then what happens? It immediately comes back and off it goes. So you'll often get that sort of breakout and then shake, and then you get the real move. You'll see that on all different types of breakouts too. I mean, or all different, you know, chart patterns and all different price levels of stocks. You see it all the time. This like sort of fake breakout. You know, here's another one. This one wasn't as clean, but you know, we had this sort of break. It bounced off of that level and then shook everybody out underneath it. And then right back up and off it goes. So I see similar type of thing on Visa, just on a much longer time frame. I wouldn't think that this is a short right away. To me, that just looks like someone's trying to shake the tree. AVGO short. Yep. Yeah, it's bouncing off of support. AVGO. What kind of company is this? Oh, this is Broadcom. Yeah, so same type of thing as AMD. You know, it's just it's down 4 or 5 days in a row. So this is actually where I would start looking to buy, as opposed to what we're looking at on, what was it? Like, Starbucks. Starbucks is only 2 days. Alcoa, this is the one I was thinking of. So this is only the first, like, major red day. You had these two, you know, little red days, but they were in, like, you know, in the range. So this is the first red day here. AVGO is now down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days in a row. So to me, this is where I start looking at buying these things. You'll often see stocks, you know, go up 5 days and then do a, you know, 2 or 3 day pullback, or go down 5 days and then do a 2 or 3 day bounce. So, you know, 5 to 7 candles, whether it's a 5-minute time frame or a 1 month time frame, it's not common to see a stock go in the same direction for 5, 6, 7, 8 candles in a row. Anything over that, that's when you start to get some relief bounces. So yeah, I like this. Same thing as AMD. I just want to see some kind of a sideways indication, a doji candle or something like that. But overall, yeah, it looks good. What is this? September 2nd. Looks like it had some excess volume. What was the news there? AVGO is falling despite Q3 earnings beat. So it looks like they beat on their earnings, but the market didn't like it for whatever reason. Maybe it was already priced in or something like that. But looks pretty good. I think it could bounce. This one has a little bit more range also, which is nice. You know, if you hold this for 4 or 5 or 6 days, you could get back up into the 170s. You know, so $10-12 a share, that's much more worth it than trading something like WRK, which is, you know, even if it works, it's only going to move like $2. So I think I've done 10. Let's see. AMD 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so that's 10. Let's see if there's anything else interesting in here. Clovis, Twitter, OCLR, Sedge, ELNK. Let's take a look at these. Whoops. Clovis, Twitter, ELNK, Sedge, OCLR. Smith & Wesson, LinkedIn. Yeah, we looked at LinkedIn. Good Lord. We're going to have to put a limit on how many people can respond with. Although I guess all of these got 0 points, so they're all tied for last place. Amba, Yard, Momo, EDAP. I'm just going to throw all these in here. Amba, Yard, Momo, EDAP. What else we got? Meet, Excel, Ren, Sprint, EXEL, Ren, Sprint. Oops. Mu, Basic Energy, NAC, baby. NAC, baby. This is way too much stuff, obviously, but Selg, THLD, and IMUC. I'm skipping these ones just because there was no indication, long or short. I can't do anything with that. And this one because it's OTC. So Selg, THLD, and IMUC. Selg, THLD, IMUC. And I'm just going to go through these and see if anything looks great. So Clovis I still like. I don't know. I hate it when a stock has a nice breakout like this and then gaps down the next day. It just doesn't, it's not as appealing. Twitter, don't see anything here really. ELNK, nothing. I like to look for very obvious, like clean patterns. So E-Link, Solar Edge, Ocular. This thing's very extended. This could be a potential short. It's getting up there pretty good. Maybe short with a stop loss over 850. It's kind of extended. And looks like it had a pretty nasty day on Friday. So that one could be something interesting. What's up with Umbrella? Oh yeah, this one actually, this was really nice on Friday. Unfortunately, now it's kind of broken the bear flag. This could keep going though, I think. It doesn't really have any major support. If it gets under 63 for sure, this could definitely keep going, especially if the market stays weak. So I'd be okay with shorting this. I loved the action on Friday where it snapped underneath this bear flag here. I missed it. I actually watched it all day, but I just missed the trade. I wasn't really, I was watching UVXY and I was trading a couple of other things. So I wasn't really paying too much attention to this, but I did watch it all day, and I looked back at the end of the day and I was like, damn, this was a really nice trade. But yeah, I think that one could keep going for sure. So that could be a potential short. YRD, Junker China stock, I don't really see anything in this. Momo, same deal. This could be a short actually also. It snapped pretty hard on Friday. Might be too far gone at this point to really be a good short. If you do short it, I would say just maybe keep the risk pretty tight, because it did have a pretty nasty morning on Friday morning and early afternoon. So that said, there's going to be some profit takers from anyone who shorted at 24, 25 bucks. So this might move sideways for a couple days before it does anything else exciting. Let's check out EDAP. See nothing in this. It just looks like it's stuck. Meat, nothing exciting. Exelixis, just trending along. Nothing immediate jumps out at me. Ren, this is, I mean, it's a day trading stock. That's really it. You know, it's hard to borrow, so it's really expensive and it's kind of a pain to short it. But it's really, really extended also. So it's not really a great long in terms of swing trades. This just is a real shady situation for me. So I wouldn't want to be swing trading it, but it's a great day trading stock. Sprint actually held up really well on Friday, kind of like CHK. Despite the market turmoil, I would have expected something like Sprint to really tank on Friday, but it didn't. So I do still like this for a long. It seems really powerful. Micron, don't see anything. Basic Energy, nah. I mean, Basic Energy just had its parabolic run here and just faded away. So, you know, it's going to take at least a week or so to consolidate that. Now, if it comes back and starts pushing up against 75 cents again, then you'll have a trade. But for right now, it's just got to move sideways and consolidate this gigantic move. The thing went from 40 to 75 in one day. So it needs some time for people to take profits on that. NAC, I don't see anything in that. Bebe, I was watching this Bebe Stores back here. I was actually long at 80 cents or something along those lines. And it sort of worked. I just never took profits on it. Ended up giving most of the profit back. So looks like it just failed. So no go there. Celgene, don't see anything. THLD, I do still like THLD, sort of. IMUC, don't see anything. THLD, I like how it is still holding this trend line. So as long as it continues to hold that, I think that, you know, this could push back through the 130s and potentially, I mean, it's got a gigantic gap to fill. So, you know, this could run 150, $2. It stopped, actually I was long and trying to sell at 148 on the 6th, and of course it came within, actually right to my entry, or right to my exit, and rejected it. So I ended up selling it at 135 from, I don't remember where I was long from, like 115 or something like that. So it rejected that, but whenever something stops so close to a round number like that, like this one stopped 2 pennies away from 150, it may come back. So I'd definitely be watching that one, especially if it starts pushing up against 130 to come back and try to bust 150 and head up towards maybe like 175 or $2. This is the type of stock that can get real parabolic like BAS did intraday. You see this type of pattern on the daily chart as THLD starts to fill in the gap. And so if this thing gets up into like the $3 area or the 275 area, this is where I'd be looking to take like a very, very big short position on it, because this is, if I remember correctly, a junk company. I just wrote a scan this past weekend actually to scan annual reports for bankruptcy risk, and I believe THLD was on it. Maybe it was EBIO that I was thinking of. Oh, TBIO. Yeah, I guess it wasn't on there. But anyway, it's a risky biotech company. So anyway, there you go. There's pretty much everything on the list. Sorry if I glossed over everything. There were just way too many things. Hope everyone enjoyed it. Give me a shout if you have any questions, and I will talk to you next week.